Hey guys, I'm Katie Room from Periapsis Press, and it's just me today. So I apologize if you were showing up for the quote-unquote date night, as TJ Lombardi called it nearly 3 weeks ago now. So David will not be joining me, and I'll talk a little bit about that, but not a whole lot. I mean, all of the stuff that happened 3 weeks ago. I have a package to open from TJ Lombardi. Let me make sure I don't dox anybody here. And I have some Tolkien-related books that I bought from our various book shopping trips, but I got a gift card that I spent on Tolkien books that were big and more recent. So I'm pretty excited about them, and you'll probably see me geeking out a little bit. And then I wanted to read your guys' comments because I haven't been able to do that for a really long time. And and then just a little bit about 3 weeks ago. I've been sick, so that's why I haven't been streaming, and I have been sick for weeks. And it was just like the weirdest, most frustrating illness ever. So it wasn't like drag out, throwing up, beat, laid out, can't do anything for like 3 days and then you're better. It was nausea and exhaustion, and like food didn't sound good, but I knew if I didn't eat it, I would throw up. And it lasted for 3 weeks. And I took naps every day whenever the kids were sleeping. And I did all of the things that you're supposed to do when you're sick to get better quickly. And I still was out for 3 weeks. Luckily, David had it first. So he had been sick for 3 weeks. And then there was like a week where everyone was better and all was well. And then I got sick. So at least I knew going in, I had some concept of what I was in for. But by the time I put the kids down, like 8:39, I was out. I was like, I'm going to lay in bed and watch TV. I have no motivation to do anything, and I don't want people to look at me right now. So I apologize that it's been so long since I've streamed. I should say hi to the chat. Tim O'Burnham, thank you for coming. A.S. Brunette, Nick Enlow. I don't know, I've seen your name before. Welcome. William Jeffrey Rankin, Johnny Douglas, hi. And Michael F. Kane. Thank you guys so much for coming. Maybe I'll just start with what happened last week, just very briefly. Not last week, 3 weeks ago, very briefly, then we can get that over with because everyone's done with that whole drama. So we did just a very nice video with the Free Narnian, and it was on a really kind of silly article from Lorehaven, and we talked about where we thought it was right and where we disagreed, and it was a really, really fun time. I had a blast. And then the next day woke up and found that our old nemesis had gotten a hold of it and was on his usual line about the things that people should read as a requirement, right? If you're a writer, you absolutely must read them in order to be successful, and their measure of success, the people in this group and adjacent to him, their measure of success is not monetary; it is art. If you're a reader, then you are wasting your time if you're reading anything published before 1980 or whatever. So that, and like the whole drama, because Jeffro is always rude, right? So like we've run into him before, and we don't care, right? We wish that people would be civil and have pleasant discourse and be able to talk about things. But like, we personally are not offended by being called illiterate, right? Like, it doesn't hurt me. We were a little bit frustrated by how like that became the conversation a little bit, and not so much like his arguments, which we think are wrong, right? And that's why we ran into trouble with him back in the day. And if you are interested in what we think about the whole don't read anything before 1980 stance, and what we think, we talked about like what we think he actually means, and sort of like Matt Walsh more recently, like, no, he really means what he says, right? And sort of broke that down. And that was a while ago. I don't remember what the title of it was called, but I know drama was in the title of the video. So all that to say, like, we've already talked about like his points, which we think are weak, and we were a little bit frustrated that people kept saying, well, he makes good arguments, he makes good points, well, he doesn't really mean this. And we sort of think this lesser, adjacent philosophy about reading and books in general. And so that was a bit frustrating for us to have the conversation hijacked by the antics, right? Like the being rude and stuff. But we came out of that with a resolution that we were going to be doing more, if that makes sense. Doing more. So for a while, David is probably not going to show up on stream with me. He's going to be taking this time to be working on his projects and stuff, which I fully support. I will definitely miss him because I think he makes me more interesting. and I know you guys enjoy our conversations together and being a part of our evening together. And so I will miss that and it's not going to be forever, right? But he has some very clear next steps in his projects that he wants to dive into. And he's going to be doing he has some ideas about streaming on his own channel, streams of him doing things, and inviting you guys to do things with him. So I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, he's not gonna be here all the time. We'll probably do some streams together, like Lego building and things, for sure. We still have a lot of the Lego Rivendell to do, so you will definitely see him. But my regular Mondays are probably just going to be more me for a while, and I apologize if that's disappointing. All right. Yeah, no David tonight. I'm sorry, guys. Hey to Resonant One. I'm so glad you're here. Yeah, yup. There's and Jeffro has a whole philosophy that he's laid out, and if you read his book, I'm sure he does more, but I've seen on Twitter before how he lays out like this sort of history of literature, and it just, some of it I'm like, okay, and then other parts of it, like, this doesn't track with what I know about literature. And there's he has the habit of saying this is what it is without any supporting details, which maybe his book expands on. But like John Douglas says, I'm not really inclined to support that because he's really rude. and I don't find him to be accurate about some things that I do know, right? So Nick says, I follow Jeffro, but he's wearing me out. Yeah. I got, and I showed it to you guys at the time that I got it. And now it's going to slip my mind. It's by DeCamp, sorry. He and his wife wrote a a guide to science fiction, or a guide to writing science fiction, or science fiction something. This is gonna bother me. The Science Fiction Handbook, that's what it is. It's not in print anymore, is what I'm told. So you have to look for it at a secondhand store and grab it like I did. But that is awesome. I got the revised version. And even that was done before Star Wars, right? Before Star Trek. It was like a completely different perspective on science fiction as a genre from anything that I had been exposed to before. And that was really exciting, right? Like everything that I had read before was sort of looking back through the lens of TV and movies, right? Talking about The Myth of the American Superhero talks a lot about fan culture and how that has progressed and changed, and talks about comparing it to being like cult-like behavior. But like this was something really different. And I really appreciated that. And it walks through, like I assume Appendix N does, some of like the important imaginative fiction. It's not just science fiction. And how they viewed those as being important and impacting the genre as a whole. So if you can find it, definitely one that I would grab. John, yeah, I agree. He's very antagonistic. I don't know enough about D&D to be invested in his D&D opinions. But the idea that he doesn't argue with people who agree with him, that I do disagree with you, because he was raking Fiona Woolf across the coals for saying like that she attributed him for helping her to find, I don't remember what book she talked about, but I think I should rephrase. I don't just think it's him. I think there's a large group of pre-Iron Age authors, not necessarily pulp rev, but some of them for sure, like Jeffro, who approach Twitter in a very, very different way than my philosophy, which is not to start arguments and be rude, and at least not on purpose. I'm not going out of my way to start arguments and be rude, but to be like proactively making things and doing things in a way that is productive. But like, he's not the only one. Like, a lot of people do that. I really, really don't want to be rude just for the sake of being rude. I think in a DM to John, I called him a butt trumpet. Not John, Jeffro. But like that's like, I am not worked up enough to like care that he was rude to me. I'm more upset that people didn't take him seriously about the actual points he was making. Doug Wise, hey, I'm not sure if I said hi to you yet. Thank you for joining. Okay. And I just realized that I don't have my box cutter. We were cleaning up in the basement today. And so I took my box cutter elsewhere. This is from, just want to make sure that I cover up any TJ Lombardi. I'm super excited to open this. I've been waiting to do it on stream. But I am excited about it. Because I saw John got something similar. Okay. Brown paper. There's something to be said for brown paper. It just feels very classy. No matter if it's like scrap or slowly getting smaller and smaller as I wrap it. Ooh, comes in another box. Hey guys, I'm really glad I found you guys, and I've really enjoyed the YouTube channel. Thanks for letting me send you my first 2 books and to add to the library. Best regards, TJ. Thank you. Hey to Ascendant Fiction, Yakov Mirkin. And ooh, stuff is falling out while I'm trying to read stuff. Okay. Oh, nice. Okay. The Dying Breed, Hunters, Book 1. It's got interior art. Very nice. White paper, large margins. There's the chapter heading. Really nice. Smells new. And Injustice, Book 2. I love the colors on these. They're very colorful. You know how some, well, especially pre-giant titles all over the cover, everything was very dark. I really like color. Very nice. Look at that. So the numbers line up, the covers look similar, the titles line up. Just good detail management. I love it. Very nice. Look at these. Very nice. So like a little card talks about the book. That's nice. So there's 2 of each cover. And then these look like, they feel like they should be stickers. Yeah. What am I going to do with these? I'm a huge fan of stickers. I have a toddler who loves stickers, and it's allowing me to live vicariously through her in many instances. So I'm excited about stickers. Very nice. They're matte too. Isn't that nice? You can really see really well on screen. I mean, you guys can see. I am going to put one of these. I have a bulletin board now. I'm really excited about. I don't know if I can show you guys. Ah, there's our ceiling. We really are in a basement, guys. My setup is ruined. Okay. Oh, bye, John. Thank you so much for coming. Yeah. Yeah. I love that it's consistent. Yeah. It looks great. And John's now mad he didn't order from him direct. Oh yeah. I think I love this kind of stuff. I like connecting with people directly. I don't mind Amazon. I get a lot of use out of Amazon. So I'm not I should phrase it this way. As a reader, Amazon fulfills my needs. So I don't have any objections to using Amazon. But it's fun to feel like instead of connecting with a conglomerate, I'm connecting with an actual person. So I definitely enjoy getting things direct from authors. I will be doing another book haul in the fall, right? I did one in the spring, one in the summer, wanted to do one in the fall. And then I'll probably wait till January or something next year to do another one. But I really enjoyed, buying $100 worth of indie books. So much fun. And like just holding them and touching them and experiencing the words on a page and the smell of the book and the colors and stuff, that you just don't really get that on an ebook. And especially if you have a Paperwhite, which is black and white, like I do, I would be able to see this, but I wouldn't see any color, right? So I definitely, there's something like inexplicably cool about holding books. Yeah. I'm a book nerd. I really just like everything about books. Okay, I wanted to talk to you guys about the cool Tolkien stuff that I bought myself. First, I grabbed this. I have the rest of the set, except for the I have the Hobbit and the trilogy. The Lord of the Rings. It's not technically a trilogy. And those are the copies that I bought in college for my class on Tolkien. And so they have markings in them because I underlined stuff when I was in college. If I had a book for a class, I would underline stuff because otherwise I would never be able to find things again. And they were tossed in and out of my backpack all the time. So they are in rough shape. I needed an equivalent, one that I didn't feel bad being a bit rough with. We have a lot of copies of the Silmarillion and they're nicer. And I didn't want to abuse them. So this is my to be abused copy of the Silmarillion. So I bought that. I found these at Half Price Books. I still left the stickers on them. And do I need these? No. But I wanted them because they're cool. And there were just two there, so I got The Hobbit and The Fellowship, which, let's be honest, that's the best one of the three. Fight me. Oh no. Well, that's what it's for, right? If you had your nice copy with you when you were destined to lose it, that would have been horrible, right? Ebooks are convenient, yeah, but physical books, that's where it's at. Nice. I think they're beautiful. I mean, they're not. I could grab. David has his copies up there that have the Tolkien's watercolors on the front, but it gives you a snapshot into what people thought fantasy should look like at different points. I really like that. I think it's fun. Michael Caine, you have a typo, so your argument is invalid. It is important to have to be abused copies. Otherwise, if you have your nice copy and that's it, then you would never open it because you would be afraid, right? I would. Yes, this is the appropriate time to show off. I would love to see it. Hey, B.A. Turner, nice to see you. Thank you for showing up. Return of the King. Return of the King is good. It has a lot of eucatastrophe. Very fulfilling. I still think Fellowship is the best. Maybe because I am less enthusiastic about the like horrible happy sad at the end of books, you know? So like Frodo leaving and like just like crying. I would rather not cry. Cereal box sized or large. I have some of those, not my books though. I mean, no, like kid books. Why do they always make kid books so huge? Like they can't hold that. I love the Beatrix Potter small ones. They fit in my daughter's hands so nice. Oh, thick. Is that what you're talking about? Cereal box size thick. That would make sense. I did not. I had a copy of The Lord of the Rings that was all one, and I got rid of it. It was a cheap one. Ooh, cool. Yeah. TJ, you missed it. I opened your stuff. Way to be late. They are one book, yes. Yeah. But they're also 6 books. So You can't like one over the other. I see how it is. I see how it is. What do you mean once you get to Rivendell? Blasphemy. I really enjoy all of the stuff pre-Rivendell. Because once you get to Rivendell, everybody sits around and talks for a really long time. But before Rivendell, you have Build a Pony. You have Borrow Rights. Whites. I'm a reader. You have Tom Bombadil. Old Man Willow. You have Intrigue and Dark Riders and the Conspiracy, like all of that. I love that stuff. Oh, Rohan, yes. Eowyn is probably my favorite character in like non-Hobbit character, I should maybe would be the way to say that. I mean Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli are all cool. And maybe it's just me, but I think that she is a compelling character because she's not as how does Tolkien say it? Like, she's not as noble. She's not as like Numenorian, numinous. I'm not of the philosophy that characters should have faults to be interesting. I just think she is interesting. If that makes sense. So, hot take here. I don't like the extended editions as much as the theatrical versions. I just think they're good fan material. The stuff that's there, right? Like if what you want is more Lord of the Rings as a movie. But I think the theatrical versions are good movies and the extended versions are less good movies. That makes sense. Is that Sam who asks him that? For some reason, I had Pippin in my head. That's a good line, definitely. Ooh, separate appendices. I don't know if I like that. Rivendell is Tolkien just doing stylish donuts on the advice that you shouldn't do in book club. Rivendell is the Silmarillion and all of Tolkien's extra stuff as much as he can possibly fit and still be relevant, mostly relevant, into the story. Also poetry. That's the other way. Bored you to tears. Oh, no. The birthday party. Did you read The Hobbit first? I think that the birthday party is a lot more tolerable if you already have like this abiding affection for Bilbo as a character and you sort of know him. Bilbo's poems are nice. Yes. I think it's kind of fun how Tolkien knew his characters in such a way that he could write their poetry. Like Bilbo's poetry is different from like Aragorn's. Oh, right out of my head. And it's different from the stuff that is said on the mark, and it's different from the stuff that Gollum says, and then there's Sam's poetry, and it's all just so unique, and it just has a very living feel to it. And I think that it's unfortunate that a lot of the fantasy that came after Tolkien tried to mimic that by just putting poetry in. It's just not the same. You guys, I feel like I'm really behind on your comments. I'm just reading through them. If you watch the movies first, it would definitely change your perspective. But even people who hadn't seen the movies knew that Rivendell wasn't going to be the end goal, because as you're reading, you're getting closer to Rivendell, and you're like, I'm only in the middle of the first fourth of the story. This can't be right. uh, it's unfortunate, I think, that poetry has sort of retreated from the public conscious, subconscious, conscious. That people don't like it anymore. It's really stuff you have to read out loud, though. Tolkien stuff, especially, and it helps if you know how to read poetry, which they don't teach anymore. You're not supposed to stop at the end of lines. You're supposed to pause at the end of sentences, or clauses, or whatever. You're not supposed to like force the beat. You're supposed to read it normally, because if it's done right, the cadence of the sentence should fall correctly. Maybe it's because people aren't doing it right anymore that they're gonna have to da 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 da. This is so much fun reading you guys' chat, and I'm only on like, I got other cool stuff here. Yeah, affection for Bilbo. Yep. Yeah. That's a good one. Sam's is my favorite, though. I really like that one. The one he does about the trolls, or the troll. I'm forgetting, but he does it at the location of the trolls. I think it has something to do with the troll, but I don't remember anymore. I just remember that one was my favorite. She sounds like somebody I would like to get to know. Many opinions on Tolkien. Yes, and that is why you guys are my chat. This is the comment in your future. Yeah, yep, exactly. Right. This can't be the end. Haikus are cool. There's I used to have one memorized that I really like, and now I don't remember what it was. But they're brief. Okay, I'm now caught up. Stop talking for just a second. Ooh, that's cool. I honestly don't know of anyone who is good at poetry anymore. Um, all of the more modern poetry that I've heard is it just feels forced to me. But I think it's cool that people are trying, right? I think because I want poetry to to last and to be there and to exist. And I think it's unfortunate that poetry doesn't have more like um I think it suffers far worse than other mediums of creativity for being unmarketable. But yeah, I want it to last. I think I think it's cool. And I wish that like as a middle school, high school teenager, I thought that I had this like impression that poetry was for kids because it's in kids' books, right? And then you don't do anything with it for the rest of your life. And that's so sad to me. Okay, I got this. I was pretty excited about this. Do I need another art book? No. But this is pictures by J.R.R. Tolkien. And it came in a box. And there's a lot of front matter. Works by Tolkien. Then there's the title page, the contents, and then the foreword, and then the preface to the present edition, 1992. It's the year I was born, just FYI, in case you guys were wondering how old I was. Publisher's note, Tolkien's picture, smoking like a badass. And I think this is really cool. It's got notes by Christopher Tolkien about each one. And they're boring notes. They're like, the drawing of Hobbiton was the frontispiece to the original impression of The Hobbit, 1937, which had no color pictures. And there's only very slight differences, blah, blah, blah. They're not like, there's nothing like came to a blank page while grading notes and wrote in a hole in the ground there lived a hobbit, right? There's nothing like that. It's all very like businessy, right? This is where this one came from. This is who drew it. This is who colored it. I mean, Tolkien drew them all, but like this is when he drew it and where it appeared. And there's some really cool to me anyway. Like this one. This is Rivendell, but looking west. Yeah, looking west. Usually you get it out from the mountains, right? Like looking back towards towards where they came from, Hobbiton and stuff. So I think that's really cool. But yeah, I got really excited about it. Am I unfamiliar with any of these? I mean, there's a few in here that are not as popular, but like I'm pretty sure most of these appear in some form or another in my stuff, right? Like, but it's all collected in a nice edition and it feels nice, and there's smog on the back. It's just nice. My daughter was really excited to look through it with me. We read The Hobbit together, and we watched the cartoon together, and she was really interested to see the different places. Here is Bilbo going down the river on top of the barrels, and she's like, just like that song. Because the cartoon is pretty much a musical. Got that over there. And I don't play like kids music for my kids, but every time like there is a song in our like family like events, things that occur to us, like what if we watch a movie or whatever and it has a song that really captures her, I'll put it on a playlist. And so we have 3 or 4 songs from that movie, and one of them is the one that the elves sing as they are being pushed out of Mirkwood, basically. For the glorious badness it is. It is really a very lovely adaptation. And the people who made it were much, much closer to the mark than Jackson was when he made his. I have a lot of thoughts on that, but I'll spare you. When I first heard Smaug speak in that cartoon, I was like, what? Like, because he's got this drawl, like this southern, the actor is a cowboy actor, right? So like he was in cowboy movies and stuff. And at first I was like, are you like, that's a kind of an odd choice, isn't it? But then like the more I thought about it, the more I was like, no, that's perfect. Because like that southern drawl, that relaxed, but like with the same sort of association we have with cowboys, like that quick draw, like all of a sudden you can just be like, you can go from being very relaxed appearing to deadly, and there's that you almost believe that Bilbo could be swayed into believing that he had the upper hand, right? Like the way that people sort of stereotypically believe that people like that southern western country drawl are slower or stupid or whatever, I just when I was thinking about it, I was like, no, this is good. This is right. This is how it should be for this dragon that's trying to really fool Bilbo into making a mistake. So yeah, I definitely have an appreciation. Yeah, we need an extended version of the Ralph Bakshi Hobbit. That would be good. Is it Bakshi or is it Rankin Bass? For some reason, I had Rankin Bass in my head. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Smog goes to 11. His voice. I don't remember what the voice actor's name is, but yeah. Could very well be. Could very well be. Yeah. That's okay. Yes. Yeah. That makes sense to me. Okay, I picked this one up. Tolkien's Ordinary Virtues. This is by Mark Eddy Smith, who I'm not familiar with. Normally, I don't grab these. There's a lot of them. InterVarsity Press. Book Publishing Division of InterVarsity Christian Fellowship, USA. So there are a lot of people who write about Tolkien from a Christian perspective, and I don't grab many of them because they don't interest me as much as the people who are analyzing his work in a like thematic, well, like, I don't know, let me just give you this is probably one of my favorites. This is another of my favorites. One Ring to Bind Them All, Tolkien's Mythology by Ansi Petty, and The Lord of the Rings, The Mythology of Power by Jane Chance. So, like, that's the kind of thing that interests me more than what religious people think about his religion. So I'm going to have to put those back later. But when I picked this one up, I realized I don't have anything like this. I think it's just a really nice, simple layout, like Ordinary Virtues, Part 1. Chapter 1, Simplicity. 2, Generosity. 3, Friendship. 4, Hospitality. So instead of being someone going through and talking about what Tolkien believed about God and Mary and et cetera, et cetera, it breaks it down into, oh, look what I just found. Oh, that makes me angry. Somebody's underlined stuff in here. That's just that one. That's what you get when you buy stuff secondhand. I think that's the only thing that is in here that's underlined. Failure is not to be wondered at. What is marvelous is when those who have fallen nevertheless pick themselves up and continue on. Anyway, the reason that I grabbed this one is because it talks about his work in the context of values, which is something that I do a lot of in my reviews. So I thought it would be interesting to see what Mark Eddy Smith thought. And I'm seeing a lot of quotes and textual references, which I appreciate. So that's why I grabbed this one. That's why I'm excited about that one. Okay, now we're getting to the big boys. You guys, I know one of my mutuals or somebody I follow on Twitter got this too. I'm super excited. J.R.R. Tolkien, The History of the Hobbit by John D. Rateliff. I just bought something by him, and I showed it to you guys at the time. Didn't I? Maybe I put it somewhere else. Yeah, it's definitely not here. I know which one it was. I think I know which one it was. Now that's gonna bother me. Maybe it was a different one. Maybe I'm thinking of something different. Yeah. Includes the complete draft version of The Hobbit with notes and illustrations. Guys. Oh my gosh. It's like completely inaccessible. Like you flip it open and you're like, I have no idea. But look, it's got a ribbon. It's green. Because of course it should be green. I'm super excited about this, guys. Oh, and it's got plates with the illustrations that I just bought an entire book of. Oh, nice. I'm super excited about this, you guys. It's huge. It's huge. Super, super excited. Super excited. So yeah, it's a chunk, big chunk. And then this one is more just because it was beautiful, but The Making of Middle-earth, The Worlds of Tolkien and the Lord of the Rings by Christopher Snyder. Let's check that out. A Tolkien fan and her money are soon very easily parted. Very easily, especially if I have a gift card. So this one is like a textbook inside. Got pictures and notes on the sides and all kinds of stuff. And do I have books like this? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. But look at it. It's beautiful. In this groundbreaking work, medieval scholar Christopher Snyder masterfully connects all of the threads of influence on J.R.R. Tolkien that infused his creation of Middle-earth. Do I have a book that connects all of his threads of influence? How would I know unless I read this and compared with what I already had? Atlas. I have not bought the Atlas of Middle-earth. That's another one that I look at and I think, do I need this? Do I have maps already? So if you recommend it, then I shall probably have to put it on the list. Oh, hi, Fiona. Thank you for coming. Don't deny yourself sleep on my account. Oh, and the Ultimate Kahuna, hi. So yeah, those are the books. And I wanted to show you guys. I got this one. This is not a Tolkien book, but I wanted to show it to you guys because I grabbed it off the shelf and was like, what? Have I shown this to you guys already? Maybe I have. I know I talked about it somewhere. This is a Jim Butcher Dresden Files Demibus. It is the SFBC science fiction printing. So it's like a special printing of it. And it's not the first one, of course. It's Summer Night and Death Masks, which is the 4th and 5th. But look how compelling this cover is. I think that the Dresden Files books look boring. I think this looks exciting. Will it fit with any of the others that I ever buy? No. It's actually the first of them that I have bought. I have The Aeronauts Windlass, but that's the only book of his that I have because I've been waiting to try and find his fantasy series secondhand and haven't. I think I saw it once, but at the time I wasn't thinking I should grab that. The only ones I ever see at Half Price Books now are like number 5. I'm not going to buy the 5th one if I don't have the rest of them. What if he changes the covers? Oh, yeah, and I wanted to read your guys' comments. Whoa, stop that. Yikes. Didn't realize that was there. Okay. I probably should have done this earlier when I was talking about drama. Okay. Let me share my screen. So we live close to 3. Not like super, super close to 3, right? Not within our same town. But it's like we live close enough to like a metropolitan area that we can go to a different one every week. This is bad, very bad for me. While we have been sick, we've been taking a break, and it's been good for our wallets. I'm sure it is. Why wouldn't they capitalize on that? It should be. So Jim Butcher writes like, I'm trying to think of how like a comparison to make, but my first experience with him was, of course, on the fantasy side, because that's the reading habit that I come out of. And the Dresden Files TV show ad on Hulu, when I first saw it, like, scared me. So I didn't start with those. But he writes epic fantasy like it's a race, and people are getting hurt all the time, and you think, okay, now they need to rest and get better, and then no, they just keep getting more hurt. It's very extremely fast-paced, good stuff, really fun, and I read most of the Dresden Files. I don't remember where I stopped, but I got upset. Generally I don't read more than 5 books in a series, because things tend to stagnate. But these like move fast enough, and it's not like months and years go by in a book, right? But see, now I don't remember which book it was, but there's one, maybe you guys probably know. There's one where some woman shows up and tells him he's got a daughter or a kid who's been kidnapped. And all of a sudden, like he's going around doing things that are like he's like acting all like way hyped up. And I didn't like it. I thought that it was too out of character, too dramatic of a shift of view to go from, I had I had a fling with this woman to I believe her that not only do I have a child I've never met, but I'm going to break all of my own rules in an effort to rescue this child who may or may not exist. I didn't finish the book. I was like, hey, I got other stuff on my TBR. Okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with the one that you're talking about, but I guess they do that kind of a thing. I think it's awesome. I'd like to do something like that someday. You know, maybe release dual covers, front back books. Wouldn't that be cool? With new covers, reprinted. Yeah, an idea. Yes, he's funny too. Yep. I'll read 6. I have to. I mean, I read Harry Potter, so. Yes, the vampire. Partial vampire. Yes. That's familiar. Chronicles of Narnia. That's 6, isn't it? I don't count the last one, by the way. Yeah. 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 You deserve a medal. I couldn't even make it through the first one. I bought the first one though to give it another go. We'll see. Yes. Oh, it's a big commitment. Yeah. Yes. He doesn't deny that it exists though in the way that I do. I C.S. Lewis desperately wanted to write theology and then sort of accidentally wrote a children's series. But like by the time he got to the end, he couldn't he couldn't do it anymore. I think personally, I think that end of the world type stories are less interesting because the stakes are all gone. And I don't mean stories where the end is at risk, right? But the idea of Ragnarok just doesn't appeal to me at all. It's like, okay. So why do I care about the characters? Like, what are they? Their goal is impossible. So, or predetermined to the point of being pedantic. I don't know. That's just how I feel about that. Yes, but we already have Revelations, which is already weird, right? There's already a lot of symbolism and like imagery and things meaning other things, but maybe also being literal. I just don't need an analogy version. I'm glad that you guys enjoyed it though, right? Like, I'm not. Yeah, how do you go back to a small scale story? Yeah. Yep. It's one of Marvel's problems for sure. Horace and his boy, yes. But I like Silverchair. Silverchair is probably my favorite. Horse and his boy is a close second. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Yep. I had to think about it. I'm gonna stick with my statement. Matthew Pilgrim, hi. Marvel kept on trucking. Wait, didn't? Oh, I know what I'm thinking of. Lewis said that Susan's redemption story would be an adult book and not one he's interested in writing. Please don't tell anybody I said that because they will go and try and do it. But yeah, he didn't keep going because he just wasn't interested. Creepy child eating giants, yes. And Puddleglum, good guy. Oh yeah, comments. I was gonna read comments just real quick, and then we'll be done for the evening. Share screen. Yes. Share. Okay. People just being so kind to me, telling me to feel better. See, 3 weeks ago. I am so glad to be healthy again, you guys. I started getting sick immediately after the drama with Jeffro blew up. So we had a really great stream on Monday. Tuesday, I was like, I wasn't sick yet, but I was maybe trending that way. And then like Wednesday, I was definitely starting to be sick. And so I just didn't engage with the drama in the way that I maybe would normally have. And that was probably a good thing, right? But thank you guys for your well wishes. I appreciate that. So these are the comments from Do Men Read, which is it was a really great stream. I had a ton of fun. The Anarchist Bible Study, he usually leaves comments in a like as if he's in a live chat, but he only had a short one this time. Advocating a nagging wife is proof this article doesn't need to be taken seriously. This is literally the worst advice I've ever heard for any aspect of marriage. Never in any way advocate nagging wifeism, the opposite of biblical and healthy. Free Narnian's point around 11540 is phenomenal. If men are going to be convinced to read Christian books, you're probably better served convincing them to read nonfiction and Banner of Truth. I think especially if you are arguing with them from a position of usefulness, right? You should be doing this to fulfill X, Y, and Z, right? As opposed to fun for its own sake, right? Entertainment in which is nourishing in a less direct way. Yeah, for sure. I also have a lot of trouble reading non-physical books. It is way too easy to let a digital book fall off my to-do list. A physical book is something that weighs down my book bag and sits on my table, and I can't ignore it. I've even started getting PDFs and printing them off. Great show, great guest. Yeah, Free Narnian was a lot of fun to have on. Very, very, very easy and natural to talk to. The Ultimate Kahuna said, cool guest, good discussion. Thank you. Timo Burnham, caught up on the video this morning. Great discussion about the topic. Thank you, guys. I appreciate those kinds of comments. The Hobbit fan, Narnia in the North. These were comments on Read What You Want, DNF and reader obligations. Michael of St. Joseph. As a kid, I only read one book at a time and always finished whatever I started. Getting back into reading it as an adult, I just can't do that anymore. Yeah, you just have to be willing to let things go and prioritize. If you are reading for entertainment, to make sure that your time is spent in entertainment and not struggling with something that is not going to provide that payoff, right? So I don't want to repeat stuff that we said in that video, but like, yeah, you have to do that for yourself. The Anarchist Bible Study. This episode didn't grab me, so I stopped watching it after 30 seconds. It puffs up in superiority. JK, great show. You're right. I especially enjoyed the entirely unnecessary but appreciated extended discourse on the word flounce. I was right about the word flounce. It has an effeminate connotation because a flounce was a piece of, like, an article of clothing that had to do with dresses. So, and how did I figure that out? I was reading Little House in the Big Woods to my daughter. This is why we read. To expand our vocabulary and to win arguments that have to do with definitions and stuff. Kalina Radcliffe said, great discussion on reading what you want. And I think it's also okay to recognize that sometimes a certain book isn't right at a certain time. There have been plenty of books I did not finish, not because it wasn't good or interesting, but because I just wasn't in the mood for it then. I've come back to some of those later and enjoyed it so much more than if I had tried to slog through it. Yes. I don't even remember which one it was. Oh, yes, I do. I can picture the cover. I know which one it is. Give me a second and I will figure it out. I have this handy page on my website. That's all the books that I've ever reviewed. It's so beautiful. Where is it? Crimson Spark by William Hastings. Great book. But it's about kids. And when I think, and I don't remember, don't remember if he sent it to me or if I bought it, but it was sitting on my Kindle for a long time. I was intending to read it. And I couldn't start it because I had just had my daughter. And so I was holding my baby, hormonally emotional, and I couldn't start, like I couldn't get into the book because it was about kids. And it's a dark fantasy, right? So, but obviously I came back to it later when I was not an emotional an emotional mama bear, and I loved it, right? So yeah. Okay, so that was the last of the ones that I wanted to share with you guys, because those were the last two videos that I thought were pretty relevant with the comments. I will just real quick check in on you guys in the chat. I have no idea what you're talking about yet, but this is a wonderful comment. I'll stop sharing. Sorry, guys, I'm catching up. You guys have been talking a lot. Men reading is a hot topic. Yep. And apparently enough to get the attention of somebody who does not follow me and who I do not follow, and start a drama war. Yeah. So this, I won't repeat all of our entire discussion because I'm sorry, I'm fidgeting with these. We had a really interesting discussion on this topic for sure, because we, like, there's a lot of theories about why men don't read, and we had thoughts about that, and then the article was kind of a silly article, and so we were talking about it from the perspective of the article, and sort of contrasting it with our own philosophy about reading. So yeah, if this is something that interests you or that you have opinions about, go ahead and watch it. And it's, the Free Narnian is an excellent guest, and David was there as well, and so them being both men had ideas, and they let me talk too. So oh, is this in the context of, like, I still can't. Well, we'll see here. Maybe you can enlighten me later in the comments here. Oh, Michael Kane, have a good one. Thank you so much. I'm glad you remain productive. That's good. I would hate to pull you guys away from doing and creating good things. I would like to be motivating and a nice companion in your productivity. Like that's why I'm not like begrudging David at all, being like, babe, I need to focus on my stuff right now. I really want to make cool things and to help other people make cool things, and the Parapsis Press is, like, I'm spearheading that project, so like I can stream, and if you guys can be productive while I stream. Isn't it weird that they moved so much? I just, How did she live in so many places? Why did she live in so many places? Why did they have land and then go somewhere else? I just don't get it. Maybe because I live in Wisconsin and I wouldn't move. So when you read Little House in the Big Woods, you're like, you live in the perfect place. Why did you leave? I don't get it. But they are really cool. Empty calories. Maybe. But that's not why you eat salad. You eat salad for fiber, right? Maybe vitamins. You guys are all talking about men don't read, and like I can't get sucked into it. Like, we did a whole cool stream, and anything I say now is not going to be nearly as interesting. Cheesehead in exile. In what way was the state driving you crazy? Because if it was just politics, I do feel that. Chase opportunities. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yes. That's true. um. Oh. Sure. Sure. Yeah. That would suck. We we yeah. Yeah. We live in a pretty conservative town. So there was I mean, obviously COVID existed here, right? Um, but like there wasn't as much uh like social pressure, I guess. And people were not pushy. I my daughter was born in 2020, my son in um so she was born like at the beginning and then he was born at the end, is what I'm trying to say. And they so we were regularly visiting the doctor and stuff, and they were not overly pushy or anything. um, they held on to the all of the restrictions the longest, but it was not a big deal, for which I'm grateful, because I think it would have driven me mad too. Really? Holy cow. Yeah. Yeah. Oh well. it's it's not a big deal anymore. Like I like, I'm not going back, right? For sure. But I'm not, for me, in my life, it was not such a huge disruption compared to having children for the first time, right? Um, that it's like a black mark on my psyche or whatever. So yeah, yep, exactly. Yep. Um, some good things happened for us, uh, right? Like we had kids. Um, David was able to come completely work from home and then just never went back to the office. So that was awesome. Right, like paternity leave, and then he went back to work, but he was just downstairs. So if I needed him, that was great. And then, like, while all of the stuff was happening, David was able to really focus in on his project and get some stuff hammered out. And like, I kept working on building up Periapsis Press, did a lot of reading. I mean, like, my life went on, right? So it was just a weird thing that happened, but like I'm not. I don't have weird experiences from it at all, other than like going out with something over my face. Wow. You guys have, like, so there's just some wild stories, and I'm yes. Yep. Holy cow. Oh, and another thing that happened was we changed the church that we were going to, because we were going into the city, and the city had a lot more restrictions in place, and it just became an opportunity for us to change things up, and you know, when you like, you have, oh, I thought he was coming in here. When you have experiences at your church, and you think, oh, that's kind of weird, but like, then things just keep going on, and you don't, like, it's not weird enough, right? This was an opportunity to be like, we can just not have those experiences anymore, right? Where you're like, I don't know about that. So yeah, that was a good change too. Good things happened to me. I'm sorry to people who didn't have that experience, I guess. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. 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 I think it helped a lot, just living in a place where people were not as high strung about it. But, you know, what can you do? Wanted to talk to you guys about one more thing I usually do at the beginning. I do like indie news, but I have not had an opportunity to gather stuff. So I wanted to mention that A Drink with Crazy has been doing a weekly news for the Iron Age specifically, and TJ Marquis as well has been doing Indie Scan, which both of them have been doing a phenomenal job. I do things a little bit differently, just because everything's associated with the Periapsis Press brand, I guess you would call it. So they, from what I understand, they're both sort of looking at things. Well, like TJ Marquis will put in stuff if you use the hashtag IndieScan, and let him know that you've got stuff coming out or whatever. And Royce has been doing a kind of similar. I think he's done just 2 so far, so I'm not 100% sure about his overarching vision for that series of videos that he's begun doing. He mentioned me in both of them, so I was surprised and thrilled to have my review treated as news, right? Like, Katie from Parapsis Press posted this review. What? Yes, I did. So that's pretty cool. So he's doing a little bit broader. He also mentioned Indie Scan in his last one. So a little bit broader, like what's going on in the Iron Age. My news stuff is much narrower, and that's because with Parapsis Press, I only review stuff that I like. So if you see me promoting stuff on Twitter or talking about news, I just do stuff from people that I've already reviewed, people that I can say I can with confidence recommend something that hasn't come out yet, right? I can say, yeah, I think you should back Kitsunche's part 2 of his series, because I read the first one and I've done this author interview with him, and I think that he like can put out something of quality, right? And I think that this story, you know, the first book that I read, I think that he has laid the groundwork with these X, Y, and Z themes and stuff like that. So that's currently available on Indiegogo. I think. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure I did a news segment about it on my website. Yes. Indiegogo. Swordbreaker Saga's epic conclusion. Yes. So that's, and mine is not anywhere near the quality of TJ Markey's. He does these really nice videos with music and I just tell you guys. And I do like little like news articles on the website as well. But just wanted to sort of talk about other people who are doing something similar and sort of how I'm doing it differently. But to say you should still check out what they're doing, because I think they're doing something interesting and worthwhile and cool and worth your time. So yeah. But I've been sick, and so I haven't had time to glean what people are doing. And like I tell people all the time, like, tell me what you're doing. Tell me and I'll promote stuff, right? And people don't. It's fine. Only stuff you like. Yes. So my TBR is so long. I actually like wrote it out in my notebook so that I could like see it all, because I just going through my Kindle or my email, I was losing track of stuff. So I'll get to it eventually, I promise. And the other thing is that I cannot force myself to any sort of reading schedule where I say, okay, I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to read this. I come to the end of the book and I'm like, oh, I would like to read something else in this same genre, or I want something completely different, or I'll watch a movie and be like, okay, I got to read something better than that. And then I'll pick something space opera, right? So it's like, and I won't apologize for that. Yeah, I what I should do is wrap this stream up and then go read. Will I do that? Probably I'll go watch the Jeremy Brett Sherlock Holmes. But I did a lot of reading earlier today when the kids were playing outside. So I can justify that, right? Okay, last thing. The other thing that I do after I do my news is I usually talk about my upcoming review. I have an upcoming review. It is just a lovely little series, sword and sorcery novellas. I liked the first one, and I whipped through it in 2 or 3 hours, and was like, "This was good. I'll buy the other two," and those were good too. And so I'm excited to review those. But I didn't have time to make slides, so I thought I would mention to you guys. I'm sure you guys have already seen it because it's been up for a week, but I did review The Garden Maze by Isaac Anderson, which is also a novella. I've been into novellas lately. I think it's summer. Makes me want to read something short and fast and fun. And this was fun. I really liked it really reminded me of Wizard of Oz. Sort of first blush, you want to compare it to Alice in Wonderland because there's a rabbit. Although he's much less nervous and more cynical. Really a fun character. But it really reminded me more of Oz. If I had to say a top three, definitely setting would be one. And character would be the next. I really liked the Squire. I felt that he was well developed. Very, very light touch, very artfully done. All of the characters have sort of fairy tale names, right? Like occupational names. The knight. Missy, that's her actual name, but she's a girl, right? But they started kind of like these fairy tale surface level characters, and they just kind of blossomed into these really interesting, complex characters, and that really carried the conclusion of the story because you believed it, right? You believed that the characters could make these choices. And yeah, I had to get kind of spoilery in my discussion of the themes. So just an FYI before you decide to actually read the review. If you don't want spoilers, I tend to be a bit spoilery because I talk about the themes, and a lot of themes are really made or broken by the conclusion of the story. So you can contact me. However, there is a author services on my website. That is one place where you can submit. Otherwise, you can contact me on Twitter or wherever we are connected. I'm on Twitter. I'm at Red Hedge Dragon, and yeah, yep. Sooner or later, I'm gonna be Rumble and stuff too. But right now, that's what we've got. Yeah, reach out. Would love to talk to you. And like I said, like my TBR pile is huge, and it's really dependent on my mood about like what I feel like reading. But I have been on a novella kick lately, so chances are good. Oh, and okay, last thing for real, you guys. Thursday is the Iron Age book club. We are reading. We have already read, and we will be discussing The Long Moonlight by Razor Fist. It will be myself, Royce from A Drink with Crazy, TJ Marquis, and John A. Douglas. It will be on John's channel, not mine. Although I may be, what's that when you stream along? But you want to be on John's channel. We are rotating channels. It's like if we were a real book club, we wouldn't always show up at the same person's house. We would go to different people's houses, and that's what we're doing. To encourage you guys to check out other people who are doing concrete things to help promote the Iron Age. So that will be a lot of fun. If you've read the book, please come and leave comments. Let us know what you thought, or if there's something that you would like us, some aspect of it that you would like us to address and talk about. Absolutely. Join us. I would love to see you guys there. Okay. I am so glad to be back, you guys. I did not feel like myself, and I'm just really enjoying being healthy. I will see you guys on Thursday, I hope. And in the meantime, just I hope that you guys will pick up an indie book and try it. And I know a lot of you guys are creators, and so I understand that you've got limited time in which to invest in your projects. But I hope that you will also read and be nurturing the creative juices with the experiences of the other cool stuff that's going on that people are making, and be encouraged and entertained by it. It would be awesome if Razorfist showed up. I don't know if I would know how, like, because I know his persona, but like I don't know like how to interact with him, if that makes sense. But yeah, that would be cool. All right, you guys have a great night. Thank you so much for coming.